Here we go. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to another episode of Road Warriors Unfiltered. It is your host, Darrien Starling here. It's homecoming week, folks. We got East Carolina coming into town. Before I get into them, actually, I'll just get into it. Folks, they're not great. Not a good team, and I'm glad that they are the team that we picked for homecoming. They do not have the mystique of old. East Carolina used to be a huge, I wouldn't say ever a huge program, but they were a very good program that rolled out good teams year in and year out, and they are just not that anymore. And the whole motto this year, the UTSA, or this week that UTSA is running with don't eat the cheese, folks. I'm eating it. I'm sorry. I'll just be honest with you. I'm eating it. This team is not a squad that we should be losing to. But to that point, football is one of those games where parity reigns supreme, and anything can happen on any given Saturday, any given Sunday, or any given Friday, from high school to college to the NFL. People slip up all the time. We see upsets all the time, and that's exactly what that'll be. If they were to come in and put up a good performance and give us issues, but this is a team that we should handle. So their defense is not bad, I'd say, but I think offensively they've struggled all season. They just have trouble punching it in. If you look at some of the games they've played here recently against Charlotte, and they held Charlotte. Which that's not a team to ride home much either, but they held Charlotte to 10 points, but they only scored 7. They had 127 total yards in that game, in their last game. They were 2 for 14 on third down. They did not convert. They did not convert on any fourth downs. And guys, the most interesting part about this is they didn't even turn the ball over. They didn't even turn the ball over, and they only put up 127 yards of total offense. They put up 39 rushing yards through 4 quarters of that game, and they put up 88 passing yards total in that game. So just not a lot going on. I will say their running back that they have, you just kind of got to watch out for him. He will sometimes, You just got to be careful for what they do on the ground. I think sometimes they can get a little loose on the ground and they can create some issues. But just right before I started this is why it took me a couple minutes to get in there. I was just watching some last-minute tape, trying to pull something together to drum something up to make the game interesting. But it is what it is. We should steamroll. We're on a 3-game winning streak, and it should be 4 after this weekend. Let's see. We got Harry Austin. Oh, he's already got me. Don't eat the cheese this week with ECU. Ah, damn it. Well, let's make sure our runners don't do that because I'm definitely eating it. We're a better team, 100%. My man D says they got a stout defense. Yeah, I do. I do think the strong part of their team is the defense. They haven't, to that point, they haven't given up a ton of points since Appalachian State. They gave up 31 against SMU, but 31 points in a college football game. It's sad to say that that's almost relatively normal especially in a conference that likes to spread the ball around. And they gave up 31 points against SMU. But that's kind of right at that brink. But they gave up 43 against Appalachian State, which is kind of huge. 31 to Marshall, 31 to SMU. So, yeah, to that point, defensively, they've held up. They've stayed above water. But offensively, they haven't been able to produce much. I mean, if you go down through their games here, you have against Marshall, they put up 13 points. Against Appalachian State, they put up 28 points. Now, Gardner-Webb, which I think is a 1AA school, they put up 44 points, got them a win there. But then when you look at their game against Rice, that was a 17 to – they put up 17 points there. And then whenever you look at, let's see, someone's at my door. That's why I'm startled. They're just going to have to wait or come back another time. But let's see, Rice 17 points, SMU 10 points, and then 7 points against Charlotte. Not expecting a whole lot from these guys. Carol B says teams tend to play to their opponent's level. I hope if we can get out of that, we've done that some in the past. Even, if you look at some of the games that we played in the last couple of seasons, even through our dominance, we've let some teams hang around that I don't think that should be hanging around with us. So yeah, there's definitely a concern from that. So I hope Coach Traylor is making sure that the guys are prepared to, just prepared and ready to stomp on these guys early. This is one of the games I like to say that I love to see some of the second string and third string guys really get some time. I'd hope to see Frank out of the game. I hope to see him play 3 quarters and we don't need him the fourth. I do think it's that type of team. But to your point, yes, we cannot put ourselves in a situation where we play down to our competition. I think a lot of the times with UTSA too, we play up to our competition as well. We don't, outside of that Tennessee game, you go back over the last couple of years, no one really, put a whooping on us, even teams where it may have seemed that we were outmatched. So I think that that's a great point to pick out. But I also think it's the wrong time for East Carolina to run into us because that belief is back. You can just feel the buzz around just around UTSA Twitter. If you really think about it, I think that the tone has just changed. I've seen on Twitter in terms of what we're talking about, and there's not as much toxicity as it was before because we're on a 3-game winning streak. It's like I said in the video earlier this week. When we start winning, everything just seems to feel better. Everyone's attitude feels better. The coach is a little bit more jovial. Whenever he's talking to the media questions are not so much about what corrections you're going to make, what issues you have to deal with, how you're feeling about things. Those questions turn into, jokeful things sometimes even playful. It's more about record setting and what are you striving for and what happens in this situation and that situation. And I think you're starting to see that come back. And then also I think UTSA Twitter could be a toxic place. I'm sure all of you guys, most of the folks who are watching here are from a large part from UTSA Twitter in some way or shape or form. It can be toxic during these wet, wild times whenever we aren't doing well. But whenever we are doing well, there's no funner place to be. It's no funner place to be. So, yeah. Let's see. We got a few comments in here. We're gonna see. They held Michigan to 30 and then 42 Appalachian State. Interesting. Yep. We'll back. No, we'll back up QB, get playing time. Who gets to go out first, McCown or ELM? That's a really good question, Joseph. Really good question. So the backup QB, if things go to plan, should get playing time. I'd say probably the entire fourth quarter. That's if we take care of business. To be honest, man, I think there's a possibility that you see both, but I think you will probably see McCown based on the momentum that he started to put out, in the last game whenever he got to play when Frank was out. So I think you'd see him, but I also wouldn't be surprised if you've seen them both get some snaps. Coach may look at it and say, you know what, I'm going to put McCown in the first half of the fourth quarter, and I'll put ELM in the second half of the fourth quarter and let both of those guys get an opportunity to go out there and show themselves. I think what you would see too is if one of them goes out first and they aren't doing well, you're most certainly going to see the other because I think they're really close. I think both of them have talent. I hope we get to see both of them if I'm being completely honest. But if I had to put my money on who we'll see for sure, I think it'll be McCown. Let's see. My man Anthony says toxic as F. I'm guilty though. Listen, I am so I will say I'm not as guilty as going back and forth with folks on Twitter, but I am guilty of letting it bleed into this show on Roadrunners Unfiltered. I get pissed at something that somebody says on Twitter, and then I will be on Roadrunners Unfiltered talking crap about that comment that they had no idea that I'm even referring to them on. So 100%. There was an interesting comment, I think, on the last video that I wanted to bring up, or I wanted to answer. I thought it was interesting. H. Bano, he commented on the FAU recap and takeaways video. I decided to answer that question here. He asked, what are your thoughts on Frank playing at the next level? Whether that's XFL or NFL, do you think he has a chance despite his previous injuries? That's a real interesting question, man. So the way I'll answer that is, would Frank be a prototypical drop back NFL quarterback? Do I see him being able to do that? If I'm being completely honest, I am skeptical of his chances of being someone who's going to come in and get drafted at the quarterback position and have a huge opportunity and, making an impact on the next level. Do I think folks will give him a chance to go in and make a team and stuff like that? I just think and this has nothing to do with his play at UTSA. He's been phenomenal. He's been great. But I think he's a bit undersized for the NFL. Frank is not super tall. I think he's around 6 foot. They like NFL quarterbacks 6'3" and up. I mean, even 6'3" they consider short in some cases. 6'4", 6'5". So he's going to have size against him. For whatever reason, I do think that NFL guys are a little bit – GMs are not as I don't know. You have to be really good as a left-handed quarterback. You'll be surprised at how much that can weigh into a decision of if a quarterback is going to be given a chance or not. So I think that is kind of working against his favor. And I do think the injury is working against his favor as well. But that doesn't mean that he won't have an opportunity on the next level. I think teams would be silly to not bring him into camp and see what he can do whenever he's playing against that level of competition. There's some things he'll need to work on and sharpen up and stuff like that, of course. But that dude he has special talent, and he'll most certainly get a shot. As for the XFL or whatever stuff like that, if I'm being honest, I don't know Frank personally. I don't see him as a kind of guy who's going to go for a semi-pro style league. I think it's going to be NFL or bust for him. But I mean, he could if that was the case, we're talking XFL, he would certainly be able to have an opportunity. He could be a high draft pick at one of those, in my opinion. I think he's that good. So I'll leave that one there. So Joseph says, halfway through the season, who was the dark horse to compete for the AAC championship? I obviously think UTSA is 100%. Tulane, of course, is going to be a team to not sneeze at. And I believe SMU, they're going to be a team that, you just got to be careful about. Let me make sure. Let me see something about SMU. I'll be honest with you guys. I haven't followed them much. I just see their name coming. Yeah, SMU. Shit. They're 4-2, and they put up some points. 55 on Temple, 34 on SMU, Tulane, and UTSA. And I'm not exactly sure the brackets and all that stuff. I hate when conferences have those things. But yeah, I think it'll be out of those three. And based on the name of this particular rendition of my YouTube channel and this show being Roadrunners Unfiltered, I'm sure you know who I'm putting my money on. Does adding Army to the AAC really add any value? It's a pain in the ass, I'll tell you that. If I'm being completely honest, adding Army to the AAC is a pain. And it's mainly because, to their credit, they have switched up a little bit offensively on what they do, but that's just a team that like is annoying to play. You don't want to have to be in a situation where you have to play them over and over. It's a pain for me because UTSA has not been great against Army historically. They've won, they're leading the series against us, so us having to play them every year is just not a great thing. So I don't know how much value it adds, honestly, but just from a pure football standpoint, I don't know. I would have preferred, another team. Let's see. Joseph also says, I would like for him to at least get invited to camps to get some money in his pockets. Absolutely, but I guarantee you he's getting some money in his pockets this year too, and last year. In fact, I know he's getting some money in his pockets this year. But he deserves more, 100%. He deserves more, and I am hopefully UTSA is not a dark horse though. Are we? I kind of think so. I wouldn't say we were a dark horse to begin the season, but we started off 1-3. So but if you say you're talking about UNT, I think I see what you're saying. Dark horse are typically not your front runners. Completely get it. I definitely say we're a dark horse though. UNT, I think we're a dark horse because of the way we started the season. 100%. I'll still stand by that part, but I'll recorrect the part about SMU and Tulane because they're expected to be. Got your point 100%. UNT could always be. UNT annoys the hell out of me because they give us hell when we play, and you can never count those guys out because they know how to put up points, and that's the name of the game. Who can outscore who, right? Did Army get into the AAC? Yeah, I think it was announced they will be joining the AAC next year, 100%. Rice can be a dark horse, maybe. Agree on the Army take. Same. They'll be a thorn in our side for sure. Yeah, Anthony, that they are not a fun team to. They're just not a fun team to prepare for. And I have this every time we play them. I have the same sort of thing from a preview standpoint about being Simon Sound and making sure that we are disciplined because that team is all about eye discipline. And sure enough, we got to go. Bold prediction, Rice over Tulane. What's up with Rice? Is Rice, am I sleep on Rice right now? I could totally be sleep on Rice. Okay, 4-3. I'm definitely sleep on Rice. They beat the shit out of Tulsa. Whoa. Interesting. See, but here's the thing about Rice. They lost to South Florida, and everybody's been blowing their doors off South Florida. What is that about? That's weird. But here's what I'll say. They beat Houston too. They caught them early. Yeah, listen. You could be right on Rice. You could be right on Rice. 100%. I have not kept up with them at all this season, and it looks like I need to pay attention. I haven't watched much tape on them at all. Guess I'm going to have to do my homework. We don't play them so late, so I haven't even turned my antennas over there. But no, Rice, yeah. Rice could be a team that we have to worry about. One of the things that came out this week that I did want to discuss a little bit is the news on wide receiver JT Clark. I think JJ, our man JJ, came out with some news, and I have the tweet pulled up right here. Eventually, I'm gonna get it set up to where I can put some of this stuff on the screen so you can see what I'm reading here. But JJ tweeted earlier on October 23rd, UTSA head coach Jeff Traylor says that he would not expect to see wide receiver JT Clark this week against East Carolina. Clark had a medical evaluation last week and is seeking a second opinion. Clark suffered a devastating knee injury last November. I would just say try to redshirt him and bring him back the next year. I'll say this, man. I feel so bad for the kid. I truly thought that he had real momentum toward being an NFL receiver, 1,000%. And I'm not saying that it's gone, at all, but having an injury like that, having a knee injury at that, it's just going to hurt his chances just by nature of it. Because number one, whenever he does return, will he be the same caliber player? That's always going to be something. And then, you know how the NFL is. They are highly skeptical. They're going to scrutinize every little detail of your career throughout college. They're going to get information on exactly all the details of the injury, and they're going to have, technology out there that's going to be able to forecast performance with stuff like this. And I think that just bums me out that he's in a situation that he's in, to be honest. And I don't know, when I read that tweet, it kind of broke my heart, because I've been talking about this all year about, man, whenever he gets back, he's going to really open up the offense, and he's going to be a huge contributor, obviously, because he's such a supreme talent. And, him, seemingly just not being able to get back on the field really just sucks. So I truly hope that he has the, some of this stuff goes beyond football, right? You just kind of hope that his livelihood is going to be, when I say livelihood, is he going to be able to, operate smoothly, run and do, work out at post football and just do everyday stuff, without pain. That's what you want ultimately. Whether he continues his football career, it would be great for UTSA, but it'd also be great for if he says no. I think I'm done. I've had my time here. So, I just hope the best for him. I just hope that he gets healthy. I hope he gets right, and he has the right people around him that puts him in a position to be at his best if he does decide to come back. And then I hope he has enough support and folks around him that if he decides to move on, I hope that he has an army and a team of folks that will be able to uplift him and carry him on and help him out, in any future endeavors that he has. So it was just I don't know. That was just a bitter, because it's weird. Like there's just been vagueness around that injury and vagueness around his, him returning. I mean, he even snuck on the field one of the times early in the year. I believe there was some Coach Traylor, I think after the second game, I want to say, came out and said he was pissed that he didn't get to, Clark was pissed that he didn't get to play. So, and then now to hear like, oh, well, they have to go get a second opinion. Whenever you hear that second opinion thing, especially with an injury like that, it's just, it's never good news. So I truly wish the best for him in this situation. All right, let's get to some more of these comments. We got Joseph says, is anyone else excited about the possibility of McCown versus Manning next year? Kids from NFL families playing head-to-head. That would be nice. That would be cool. That would be cool. I just want to win the freaking game, though. I don't care if it's McCown, ELM, or somebody else. Let's just win. Let's beat them. You know how much shit I would talk if we get that. Martavius French seems to be flying on the radar regarding the spotlight, while at the same time leading the team in tackles. Yeah, because I haven't mentioned them on here. Yeah, that's a good call out. I haven't mentioned them on here. The defense, I'll tell you why though. There hasn't been a ton of celebrated about the defense lately. Well, lately, yes, from last week or the last 5 quarters we played, but you just look at throughout the season, like who has anybody really stood out for us to celebrate outside of Trey Moore? I think Jamori Robinson got some pop, and a couple other guys got some pop in spots, but there hasn't been, anybody on the defense. I'm just thinking about like we had those last couple seasons where, it seemed like every single game Rashad Wisdom was popping off the camera, and just making huge play after play after play after play after play. And I'm not saying he's not making plays now, because he is, and he's still an integral part of our defense. But our defense at that particular time was playing at a level that just not on a level that we've reached consistently this year. I think we've reached it, obviously, last game, and we need to build upon that. But I suspect that the more that we get folks or we start doing well defensively, I think we'll start diving more deeper into that roster and start talking about some of these guys. Cam Alexander is leading the team in pass deflections. It is something to celebrate. Yeah. Listen, the corners are definitely starting to play a lot better. The secondary in general is starting to play a lot better. Like I said, the last 5 games, we've looked good. Just before that, we haven't looked good. So it's hard to really celebrate those guys, before these last games. And it was so many guys to celebrate last week. If you guys watched the recap video, it was hard for me to call out one because I feel like everybody balled out. So I just said the whole defense get players of the game, right? Let's see. We got Carol B. JT needs physical and mental support 1,000%. 100%. Let's see. Joseph says Trey Moore's leading NCAA in sacks. That's something. Yeah, that's one name that I have been mentioning a lot, Trey Moore. He is he's a talent. He's most certainly a playmaker, 1,000%. Let's see if we have any more questions here. Just getting back to the game though this weekend. I just say for everyone who can make it, show up to the dome. I think the key for our season, for us to make an AAC run at the title, is always going to be on momentum. And when you look at games like this, a lot of people look at it like, oh, it can be a trap game, and we just need to go in and get a win. And we do need to win, but there is a way that we need to win to continue the momentum. We shouldn't go into this game and have a close game with this East Carolina team, right? When you think about the way our offense has been playing in recent weeks since Frank's return over the last 3 weeks, when you think about what our defense has done over the last 5 quarters, we have a situation now to where if we go in and smack the dust off this team here pretty quickly, number one, we're going to preserve health because our starters will not be playing the vast majority of they'll be playing the vast majority of the game, but they won't play the entire game. That just limits risk that I think that we just always have to take into consideration. And then also, in my opinion, that builds on the momentum if we dust them away and take care of the team that we are clearly more talented in, and we're clearly in a better position as a program in. I just feel like if we go in and put forth a bad performance against a team like this, we have some games coming up that's just not going to be as easy. Like after this, we have North Texas, which you know what time it is whenever they play North Texas, and North Texas is I think 3-4 right now. But did you guys check the box score? They played Tulane to a close game. It was 28-35. Now I don't know if it was actually close or if they came back at the end of the game or something like that. But to the point that was raised by I think Joseph earlier in the chat about UNT, being possibly a dark horse. I hadn't been keeping up with them all season, but I was scrolling through the box score and I was like, wow, that's either North Texas is better than what their record shows, or Tulane is a little bit more shaky than what their record shows, right? So just something to, keep in mind there. Like, we're going to go through a gauntlet now, especially now that I know Rice is nothing to play with. So we got North Texas after this, which is what I mean. We need to come out of this East Carolina game healthy with momentum, because we have to go to North Texas, which, those games in Denton, especially when it starts to get cold, are just not fun sometimes. The weather gets nasty and all of that. I've played in those, and it can be not fun, right? But North Texas, and then you got Rice, South Florida, which I don't know what to think of them because they've beat Rice, but they get blew out by everybody else. And then, we end the season with Tulane. So we end the season with, 3 of our last 4 games are going to be against top teams in this conference and teams that are really good in this conference. So It is important to always to not only take advantage of these games, but it's important to make sure that we are putting together a good performance, even if you got a team that is not on your level. We should win this game, 30 something points plus. And that's not me being disrespectful to East Carolina, but go look at the highlights of their games and look at the highlights in our games and just look at the quality difference. Even whenever we're not playing at our best, look at the difference in quality there. It's a major difference in quality. So I hope it doesn't, I hope it doesn't come off as disrespectful. It's just the fact of where both teams are. They're a 1-6 team against a 4-3 team that is on a 3-game winning streak at the moment. And they're coming at homecoming, so those players are going to be more, family and all the folks that are coming in from other places and stuff are going to be coming in for homecoming. Those guys are going to want to party that night afterwards. So the game's at 2:30. You think they're not going to want to have a very, very good time later that night? They are. Trust me, we did when we were there. So, yeah, man, homecoming game. It's a great opportunity for us to continue to build on what we have started. It'll be great going into a North Texas game with a 4-game winning streak, coming off a game that builds confidence and gives some of those role players opportunities, because you never know when you're going to need them. That's the one thing that I always say, man. I preach this all the time. Whenever we have an opportunity, you're not going to run across, because of the parity in football, you're not going to run across teams, especially in the AAC, where you have one team that's way up here and then another team that's just not even going to be competitive, where the levels are that are that unbalanced. Whenever that does happen, and you're on the side of, you have heavier weight than your opposing squad, you have to take advantage of those opportunities, because those freshmen, those sophomores who are having to wait behind those juniors and seniors, they need that game time. They need that experience. They need to be able to knock the nerves away when it comes down to performing under those lights, especially in a homecoming game where all their friends and family are in the stands and folks from other colleges and things are that are in town, and all eyes are going to be on them. You just people don't understand what it's like to walk out of there in front of thousands of people and play. And even people who are coming from high school and hadn't played in some of these high leverage games before, sticking them out, sticking. Could you imagine us having to play a freshman who hadn't played one snap against Tulane in a fourth quarter because someone got injured, and now they have to go in at corner or something and guard that team's best receiver? Yeah, that'll suck. That'll suck, because you just don't know how. You got to be a special individual to be able to go out there, put it all together and say, yeah, I can take this. I'm not going to let the nerves get to me. I'm good to go. I'm going to be able to, it just takes experience. Experience, under those lights and in those situations is a real thing, and it's something that's valuable. Joseph says Tulane is overrated. I hope so. That'd be great. I hope so. But, their record is their record right now. They're ranked 22 in the nation. And they are 6-1, sitting atop the AAC, but I definitely hope they're overrated. I tell you this, we're gonna whoop their ass when we play them. I'm gonna stand on that one. Joseph says, is the AAC championship the winner of UTSA, Tulane, SMU, Memphis? Probably. Yeah, I would think so. But you never know. Like you said, Rice or somebody, UNT, you don't know. So I think I'm going to end it there. Yeah, the chat was live today, guys. I really appreciate everything. I appreciate you guys joining. Make sure you hit that subscribe button to the channel. I'd really, really appreciate it, so we can get more people to join the community. And yeah, just keep showing love. We'll keep doing this thing live. I will be available to do a live game reaction on Saturday after the game. So I hope you guys are there to tune into that one. And you know what time it is, guys. Birds up. We out. Peace.